there's a lot of things mothers-in-laws do that seem strange, but what about when your mother-in-law wants your cat to be meatier?
That crazy and insane, my crazy family.
I guess it's an interesting one when you want to fatten up the cat a little bit for whatever reason that may be. It's My Crazy Family. Press subscribe wherever you download podcasts so you don't miss any of our episodes. Get it commercial free through Apple Podcasts. Even try that for 3 days free. So yeah, mother-in-law feeding the cat a little bit too much?
Oh, a little bit too much and the wrong kind of food. This is about a mother-in-law who is feeding dog food to a cat.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to do that one day, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're going to do that long term, and here's where my veterinary technician stuff is going to come flying through this podcast.
Yeah.
If you need to tame me down, that's fine. Cats have a very strict need for protein, much higher protein content than dogs. They have to have taurine, which is a mineral. They need that for their hearts and their vision. There's also some other vitamins. I think vitamin A is important for them to have that isn't really found in a lot of dog foods. And I think niacin is the other one. Somebody, if you want to look that up, feel free. But I think those are the things that cats absolutely must have that you won't necessarily find in dog food. So, if you're out of food and the cat needs to eat and you've got a dog and you've got dog food, you can do that for a day if there's no other dietary restrictions. But you don't make it a habit to feed a cat dog food. That's not okay.
My cat is a strict vegan. We have to cook things on specific pans for it. And we can't
I will
use
come
them.
over there and slap you, Tony.
No, okay. So my real question is, okay, I totally get that, but why the hell do dogs love cat food more than dog food?
Well, it's something different.
Is it more delicious? Is there more flavor in the or is it because there is more, pure protein in cat food than there is dog food? And do they notice that? They're like, shit, this is good.
I think they do. I really think they do, because cats are carnivores mainly, whereas dogs can have other things in their food. So a cat's food is like going to McDonald's, and getting the Big Mac and the large fry and maybe even some McNuggets. That's what that's like.
Oh, wow. And
it's a big deal.
And dogs are more like, I'm going to go to the sushi bar and I'm going to have, yeah, interesting. Well, that's good to know. Now, because that's the thing. If I always have to, I have to put the cat food up really high. Otherwise the dogs get it. So it ends up being kind of like a double dare, round for the cats to get to their food. But once they get through the hamster wheel and the slide with all the slime, they get to their food. The dogs don't go that far. So.
Absolutely. But how often do you see the cat digging into the dog's food? Not very often.
Only out of desperation. Only
right?
if there's like no other food and it's like, I'm hungry. Yeah.
I need something. It's like when you stop at the sub place, you're like, fuck, it's the only thing that's open right now.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. I'm hungry. I'm going to eat that. That's exactly what that is.
Are you anti-sub? I mean, what is that?
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not. But I've gotten food poisoning from a certain place. And
let me guess, the one with yellow on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. If I that's like the last sub place I would go to. I've gone there, but if there's other options, I'll pretty much take any other option over that.
Well, and that's exactly what we're talking about here, where it's like, well, it's the only thing I can find, and I really need to eat something right now, so I'm going to go there.
So what happens here with the cat and this mother-in-law?
Well, there's a mutual agreement ever since we adopted our cat that our mother-in-law doesn't feed it. She proposed the mutual agreement, it says.
Okay.
And again, we asked her when we caught her before feeding dog food to our cat. She's out of our house soon. So here's a mother-in-law who's living with a couple. But during her last few days, she's been more sloppy and bold with her lies. So it sounds like they've busted her a few times. There was a neatly heaping pile of crushed dog treats that she claimed the dog left behind when we were out doing errands. And while not knowing our cat was kept in our room with the door shut, dog owners and non-owners know that this is a heaping pile of bullshit. She claims she would never do that because it's such a childish thing to do. How dare we claim that? She also mentioned out of nowhere, she doesn't need to pick up dog crumbs even after her entire existence living here and raising our partner to be a clean person who picks up after himself. Well, she pretends to be a diligent, clean queen who is an animal whisperer with above God mentality. The truth is, she'll never become the woman she wishes to be, the person she's trying to shape me into. I have eyes, and I will never follow the steps of a never happy, unappreciated old hag. Obviously, there's more to this story. Death by 1,000 cuts, mother-in-law. End of the day, trust your gut, save your marriage, and save your cat.
Wow. Well, yes, it sounds like she shouldn't be feeding the cat, amongst other things. Yeah, that's kind of dark.
It is dark, but I feel like there's some history here. This wasn't the first thing the mother-in-law has ever done that upset this person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's history here.
You know what I think is kind of shocking to a lot of people? It's shocking to me. And I think the first times you kind of run into it is when you are an adult and then you start realizing that, wait a second, I think one of my parents is lying to me to cover up like stupid shit like you would have covered up when you were a kid. But they're like doing it as an adult and they're your parent and you're an adult too. And it's almost like roles reverse sometimes, where it's like, how can you be this disconnected from reality to believe this or that, or to say this or that, or to come up with this excuse this way or that way, when you know damn well that they know they're lying, but they just sit there and they just kind of sit there with the same righteousness that a lot of parents have when you're the kid of, you know, my word is the gospel and there's no other way around it. I think a lot of parents still kind of have that view of themselves when their children are adults and they still think that they can stand behind it of, you know, whatever I say is right, no matter what, when it's like, no, you're really kind of full of shit. And then you start to question how much other full of shitness there was throughout your life when you realize they're doing that.
It's really hard.
It is. And it's hard to wrap your mind around because a lot of times they will never, ever, ever admit it, no matter what. I think all the way sometimes to the fault of, you know, destroying a relationship. Some people will dig in that far and be like, well, you know, if this is going to ruin the relationship, so be it. Even if they know they're lying, just to stay dug in on whatever bullshit they're currently on.
Yeah. The mother-in-law needs to leave too. It says she's out of her house soon.
Yeah.
Get her the fuck out.
Yeah. The quicker, the better on that. Set up more boundaries. Then you won't have to worry about her feeding your animals, period. So.
No kidding.
My cat and my dog are over here right now and they're playing. And I can't tell if this is leading to some sort of inter-animal lovemaking or if they're just playing.
They're just playing.
He's got his paw like down on the cat. The cat's like on the ground trying to get up. And he's just like looking at her like, no. Oh, it's a him. They're both he's. I always get my cat's sexes mixed up sometimes. I don't know why. Because the cat does a drag show every Saturday night. It gets a little confusing. But
you need to send me pictures of that. You need to post those pictures.
It's the weirdest shit. I walk out here and there's it's like, I'm coming out, like Diana Ross is playing, and the cat and the cats are walking on top of the freezers like a runway. It's very bizarre. But, you know, I'm like, hey, you guys, at least you're having fun. And then I go back in to, you know, watch something else. But yeah, that's an interesting dynamic there where she's feeding the pets. So yeah, get her out. That's pretty much the answer to that question. If you have a crazy family story, we'd love to hear it. 833-CRAY-FAM, or you can write in at crazyfampod.com. Be sure to press subscribe wherever you download podcasts so you don't miss any of our episodes and stories for you every single day of the week.
Let crazy and insane, my crazy family.